The former Anambra State Governor and Labour Party presidential candidate during the 2023 elections, Mr. Obi, has reacted angrily to the reports that the Senate have rejected the electronic transfer of election results. In his reaction, Mr. Obi said, "This failure to pass a clear safeguard is nothing short of a deliberate assault on Nigerians' democracy. By rejecting these essential transparency measures, they are eroding the very foundation of credible elections." One must ask, does the government exist to ensure order and justice, or to institutionalize chaos? Is this purpose to serve the people or to fulfill the sinister ambitions of a few? The turmoil, disputes, and manipulations that plagued past elections, especially the 2023 general elections, stemmed directly from the refusal to fully implement electronic transmission. Nigerians were fed excuses of a fabricated glitch that never existed. While numerous African nations adopt electronic transmission to bolster democracy, Nigeria, the supposed giant of Africa, shamelessly lags behind, dragging the continent backwards. We are wasting time hosting conferences and drafting papers on Nigerians' problems, while we, the leaders and allies, are the real issue. Our deliberate resistance to reform is pulling the country backwards, dragging us towards a primitive state of governance. By rejecting mandatory electronic transmission, a critical safeguard for electoral integrity, we are entrenching disorder aimed at perpetuating confusion according to the whims of a small clique. Have we not reached a point where we must think seriously about the future of our country and our children? Should leadership not focus on building a credible, orderly, and livable nation for the next generation, rather than one permanently ensnared in chaos? When the former Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, aware of our history, labeled us fantastically corrupt, we reacted defensively. When President Donald Trump declared us as now disgraced nation, we were incensed. Yet, with every act of resistance against transparency and reform, we continue to affirm their claims. Those responsible will later point fingers at others for harming the country, while they quietly suffocate its potential. Let there be no illusion. The criminality witnessed in 2023 will not be tolerated in 2027. Nigerians everywhere must start getting ready to rise up, resist, and reject the backward trajectory, legitimately and decisively reclaim our country from the clutches of deliberate malevolence. The international community must take heed of this groundwork for continued future electoral manipulation, endangering our democracy and development. Meanwhile, the Senate minority caucus have clarified that the Senate passed real-time transmission of election results from polling units in the ongoing amendment of the Electoral Act. There were reports that the Senate on Wednesday rejected the proposal to compel the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) to compulsorily transmit all election results electronically. At a press conference on Thursday, opposition lawmakers, including Senator Enyinaya Abaribe, Amini Waziri Tambuwa, Natasha Akpoti, amongst others, said the proposal was not rejected, stressing that the Senate did not pass transfer for transmission of results. Abaribe, who addressed journalists on behalf of the opposition lawmakers, said,
"The Senate did not, I repeat, did not pass transfer of results, which was in the 2022 Act. What we passed, and which the Senate President himself, when he was doing a clarification sitting on his chair, is transmission of results. And I need to make this very clear. Every one of us who is a senator, who has the privilege to represent a senatorial district, came here under the trust of their senatorial zone. And each one of them imbues in himself or herself a public trust, a trust that has been handed to us by Nigerians to do the absolute best for Nigeria. And when it now appears that we have been misunderstood in any way, that's why we said we will come here, each and every one of us this morning, including those that are not here, a vast majority of the senators, to say that this is exactly the process that we passed through to get to this point. First, there was a joint committee of both the Senate and the House, made up of members of the electoral committees in both chambers. These joint committees had several retreats, both in Abuja and elsewhere. And each of those retreats was done with both INEC and the CSOs. Everyone agreed at the end of the retreat that electronic transmission of votes was the way to go. And that was reflected in the reports, both in the House and in the Senate. Now, there was public hearing, there was everything, and this was what they would say sine qua non. Nothing else but that. And I think the Senate President reiterated it yesterday. The Agora Committee report was brought. The Senate also set up an ad hoc committee to review this report, electoral report, and report back to the House. And it was the report of that Senate, of that ad hoc committee, led by Senator Adebomire, that we considered when we went into a closed session. And the reason for us to go into a closed session was so that we can tidy up all the niggling things inside there. And when we now come back to plenary to pass it, that we will pass it without any rancor. I can assure you, on the honor of all of us who are standing here, that both the electoral committee of the Senate, then the ad hoc committee of the Senate, and also in the executive session that we had, that we all agreed on section 63, which is electronic transmission of votes, or electronic transmission of results in real time. I think 65, I think I have it here. I'm going to bring it when we finish and distribute it to you, what we passed. Now, at the plenary session yesterday, we also passed it, but because there was a whole lot of people walking around and people talking, so it now seemed that something was wrong. We went back individually to find out from what exactly was done, and we were reassured. And the Senate President, while sitting, and I'm sure you have the videos yourself there, confirmed that we passed the electronic transmission of results. And I will show you what we have here. There were so many other things, including timelines that now differ. You set up a harmonization. Those harmonization is what you use to make sure that you come to one single document which the president will now sign. So that is where we are at the moment. But I need to add one further thing so that Nigerians can rest assured. After our session, plenary session yesterday, we adjourned, but did not come back to pass the votes and proceedings. And that is our rule, and you all who are here, you know it. The Harmonization Committee cannot meet because the document they will use to go to the harmonization is the document passed by us and ratified by the votes and proceedings. So there's still one more step left by the Senate to take. After we pass the votes and proceedings, in which we are going to insist and ensure that what we passed, which is electronic transmission, is there, then the harmonization will meet. What now happens in harmonization is simple. You either adopt the House version or you adopt the Senate version. And of course, Nigerians know what they want. It is the job of Nigerians also to put pressure and ask questions from their representatives. My own representatives in Abia South Senatorial Zone have been sending me messages since yesterday, and I'm sure it is the same for each and every one of them. And we're telling them, no, this is what we passed. We passed electronic transmission of votes in real time, of results in real time, and that is where we are. I hope this clarification settles this matter. And I can tell you that it's not just the number here. A great majority of the senators are with us across party lines. Because this is not a party matter. This is a Nigerian matter. Fair, transparent, and free elections and election processes are the underbelly and the ground of democracy. If your results are not transparent, if whatever you do is not fair, if whatever you do is distorted in any way, then it's not democracy. So we are here as Democrats, as people who insist on the right thing to be done, to say that this is where we stand. Thank you.